So the other day, I read somewhere a question: why do we stop enjoying failure as much, and why do we dread failure? So, of course, the author kind of hinted at the essence of our school systems and the problem of how it kind of made us more rigid or less prepared for the real life, which, of course, I would say is true to a particular degree because our school systems did not evolve to create the modern, creative, critical thinker. It kind of more creates an industrial worker who follows the rules. But still, dreading your failure is probably inherent to our genetic code. Our brain kind of wants to be safe, wants to keep us safe, wants to keep our body safe. So we're kind of dreading failure because failure could cost us our resources, our health, perhaps even our life. So our primitive brain tries to mitigate that each failure is something bad. We feel bad. We feel this unrelease of the happy hormone, so to speak. We feel bad. So it's not just inherent to our school system or education. And I'm speaking, of course, a bit philosophical and also from experience from watching my little kids grow up and how they deal with frustration. And it's not because I told them to be frustrated. It's not that I told them to be miserable because the two toys do not connect the way they want to connect. It's different. They actually feel that agitation. It's kind of something in their genes, in their body, that makes them unhappy. Of course, the way they react upon is different that I would react, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So can we unlearn? Can we mitigate this system? We can, of course, if we can learn to embrace cold plunges because it's beneficial to us. If we can learn to embrace medicine that's bitter or injections that are painful, then perhaps we can also embrace the commonality of learning not being so much a pleasant experience until you master the skill. And also that failing can feel perhaps negative, but it's a good thing because we are on its way to learning, because we are on our way to becoming better, because we are learning, because we are trying, because even trying is better than standing still. But still, we cannot go past the fact that our body is just wired the way that it sends a negative signal once we are not successful, once we fail. So how do we mitigate this? Well, perhaps looking at it not as a failure, not as an end goal or outcome. Perhaps we should look at it as a sideway or a waypoint of where not to go or where to go. So that would perhaps mitigate a bit the sense of not being in a happy place. But fact is, most of the successful life, we will be in this unhappy phase. We will be in those places where there are not many sunshine. So perhaps we should adhere to it. Perhaps we should embrace that this is the normal. This is the pain we should endure because that's normal. So if we look at people who have chronic pain, you have this sense that, of course, it bothers them, but eventually it becomes part of who they are. Of course, they don't want to feel pain, even then, after 5 years, but it becomes who they are. It becomes the new norm. Pain is the norm. So perhaps we've been a bit wussy out and been accustomed too much of not feeling this anxiety, this pain. Perhaps we can go beyond that and feel some stability, feel some pain, feel some anxiety. But it will not change the fact that we are wired this way. You should, however, rewire your brain into saying it doesn't feel good, but it's necessary and I want it. Not I must do it because that poses an opposition in your mind, but I want it. I want it to go this way, although it hurts. It's miserable because this is the only way I will pay the price of entry to the success pool. And that's perhaps better than posing as I'm miserable because it feels miserable, because then you're just suffering more than you are suffering in reality. as the Stoics said. So think about it next time you feel down and just move forward. Of course, it will suck, but you want it and you want to succeed. So that's why you have to move along. Perhaps think of it like this. If you go to war and somebody shoots you in your leg, you have two options, or a couple of options. But most certain, one is you sit down and you embrace the pain and you feel miserable and you just cry about the pain and what happens. Of course, that's an option, but you will most probably be shot to death again. So what's the second option? Well, the second option is, of course, you feel pain, but you should get to safety. You should crawl, you should move. And the third option is, okay, you should assess the situation. Can I move forward? Can I move backwards? What can I do? How much time do I have before do I need a bandage now? Assess the situation and then move forward. Because, of course, if you leave the bullet inside, you will get an infection and die. But you don't die on the spot. That's the point. You have time if you make time. But if you stop and sit down and wait and start a pity party, you will most probably be shot, either by your people or the other side. So you don't stop. You move forward. And you leave the scar as a reminder. You stop the bleeding and you move forward. And the same thing is learning. It's not so drastic. It's not so dramatic, but you move forward. You got the scar. You have to move forward. You pat yourself up. You stand up and move forward. And you be more careful next time and you avoid what you've been doing to get shot or put down next time or embraced failure. So we are wired this way, but you can do something about it. It should not be a pity party. It should be a learning opportunity, and you should just move forward intelligently, but still move forward. That's it all from me. Give a thumbs up.